Hi there, welcome to episode 4 of How to Build a Recording Studio. I'm going to take you back into the studio. We're going to have a look at some of the work that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of very intricate woodwork, so a couple of big jobs as well that will be quite interesting for you to see. But it's been a while since the update because, you know, there's a lot of stuff that took a very long time, but actually was quite, doesn't look like a huge amounts going forward day by day. It's going to be probably about another 3 weeks. I think it's going to be the second week of July that we're going to be done. So I'm going to be keeping things updated a little more frequently now. But let's jump in where we left off. So the floor was drying and here we go. So as you can see, floor drying and now it's dry. So you can see the around the edges of the wall there, we've got the start of a cable run. But this cable run is also going to serve a second purpose. In the machine room here, you can see where the cables are coming out there in the ducts, and also the very beginnings of our pipe work and bits and pieces that are going to go down there. So let's jump back into the main room. Now, I'm going to pause at this point so that I can explain to you what's coming next. I wanted to have a couple of walls of stone look. So that it's like bringing the outside in, it's bringing the kind of Cotswold, the beauty of the Cotswold building design and all of that kind of stuff into the studio. And we looked at a lot of facing stones and we looked at a lot of facing bricks and things like that, and all of the kind of different ways that you can kind of fake it. And we were standing in the studio and I said to Andy, the builder, these all look terrible. How are we going to do this? And he sort of scratched his chin and he said, well, as long as you're not worried about losing 2 or 3 inches off the sides of the studio, we could just build a Cotswold stone wall in here, like a real one, and then it will look real because it will be real, which was a genius solution. So going back to the video. So we've got that wall. It's just starting to go up here and you can see how it dries. Really lovely. It's resting on those ledges. So that ledge then goes around the room. This is where the cable run is going to be for the different mic panels and stuff. You can see that starting to go up here, we've got our kind of WC and kitcheny area. At the top here, we've got some frames starting to go up and the aircon you can see there, but that's going to hold some of the acoustic treatment. And here you can see where our wall is going up. It's now past the window and up to the ceiling. And if we zoom in a bit, you can see the texture of the wall. It's just really great. I think it's going to be very useful for sound scattering. So the frames are going up along the back wall as well. As you can see in this stage, we've got the frames up for the fabric at the back and also around the door. Back into the machine room, we've had some progress on the construction of the loo, and also in that little gap we're going to have our kitchen area. Now over the other side the wall is going up as well now, and here is the beam. I'm just going to pause at that point because I want to tell you a funny story about the beams. And basically it was the same kind of thing as with the wall. So I had this conversation with the builders and I said, right, I'd really love to have those kind of beams, fake beams, some kind of thing running across the room, just to add to the kind of rustic feel of the interior. And, you know, it can be just kind of boxed, it can be just boxed in and then just put some kind of cladding on it or something like that. And we discussed it and talked about, you know, how we could try and make that look good. And at some point I said, oh, no, let's just go for beams, and then forgot about it. So when the beams actually turned up, I was kind of dumbfounded because they are enormous and unbelievably heavy. So the guys, however, had it all in hand, and they had the techniques for attaching it to the ceiling, but also it's supported on either side in a really cunning way that is then hidden behind the paneling and behind the plasterboarding, and so it's going to look great. It will look like a real beam because it is a real beam. So there we go. So that was kind of a slight surprise. So you can see that there's more battening going on the roof panels now to hold the framing. Let me just pause again. The framing, this is a real kind of super fine tolerance thing. So the framing for the fabric is 12 mil. So if you're putting plug sockets in or anything that then emerges through the fabric, that has to be mounted 12mm as well. Otherwise, it pulls the fabric in and you can see that, or conversely, it pushes the fabric out. So the guys have got a special wood milling machine, which they're able to just set the exact width and plane out planks of wood to be able to use. So it's going to be great, but it's quite intricate doing all that stuff. The measurements and everything is to a very fine tolerance. This is the window frame for the lovely picture window that's going in, that will be the beautiful view from the studio out to the countryside. And that's going to be going in shortly. You can see the metal framing as well that's going to be holding plasterboard for sections of the ceiling that don't have fabric. And here is where the synth racks are going to go. And again, there's going to be framing there for kind of boxes and all kinds of stuff, and power sockets and all that kind of thing. So that's all going on. So the updates will be coming a little bit more regularly now, because we're getting to that point where things are moving a bit quicker. Plastering is going on at the moment. That's the big project. And then over the next kind of 3 or 4 days, also the window will be going on very shortly. And then it'll be a sealed box. And for the next 3 or 4 days after that, we're going to be drying it in there so that it's ready for the flooring to go down. And that's going to be basically big industrial dehumidifiers in there to get all of the moisture out and dry out fully all of the plastering, so it's ready to go. So I think we are about 3 weeks away, which puts us to the middle of July, just in kind of real time terms. It's going to be around about then when we're finished. Fabric wrapping, I think the 2nd week of July. I think that's where that's going to be. So, and then the wiring and all the cabling is going to be done 1st week of July, crossing over to the 2nd week. So we're kind of, everything is kind of mounting towards this finish line. So hopefully we won't hit any major snags. There's a couple of other bits and pieces going on the woodwork side. The guys are building me a really nice little kitcheny thing to go in the machine room, just so I've got a little fridge and some kind of, tea making facilities and all that kind of stuff. And I hope to be able to show you some work in progress pictures of the furniture building as well next week. And that is getting kind of close to completion. That should be all done in a couple of weeks as well. So lots more news to come. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's kind of exciting. It's actually a bit like a kid waiting for Christmas now. It's getting more painful as the days go by, because it seems to just, this last bit of time just seems to be stretching out forever. But I'll be in there soon, and I'm having it wired up in such a way that I'll have all my cameras set up all the time, so it'll be a lot easier for me to make more educational content, and I'm going to be doing a ton of that once I'm in there. So there's going to be lots and lots of stuff coming. So thank you very much for coming with me on this journey, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.